film director, in order to be a perfect cartoonist, you have to think like each other. Case in point, Spielberg. Do you guys realize that nearly 90% of the storyboarding that is done for making a Spielberg movie is done by Spielberg, along with, of course, a graphics team, but he's actually sitting there sketching it out? Now, if he had no patience for it whatsoever, who would do the storyboard? Some guy he hires, right? But hey, it's not his vision, so therefore, can it be from his head? No, it's some other dude doing it. So when a great filmmaker like a Spielberg sits there and goes like, I want this scene to look like this. The shark comes out of the water, the shark grabs the dude, the shark eats the dude, then this is how we're going to shoot it, this is how we're going to do it. He'll sit there and he'll script it out, storyboard after storyboard, all the cartoon illustrations. It's the same thing with a cartoonist. But technically in reverse, because you're not making a movie, you're making a comic. But you have to put yourself in the mindset that your comic, and this is one of the big differences between American comics and Japanese comics, unless you're reading a really well-made American comic, because it's not, always the case, but you'll see what I'm talking about. You know, when you pick up one of those really cheap American, let's say domestic comic book, cheap, super guy, and it looks really cookie cutter, because when you read it, you can just feel like, man, this is the Superman, super guy comes in, rescues the kid, saves the kid, pets the dog on the head. What was that artist thinking when he did this? Probably not much at all, except for, where's my paycheck? Because it looks like it just came straight from his head and straight to paper. And in many cases, that is the case. But have you ever picked up a comic, whether it's in English or Japanese, and you felt like, holy Jesus, I just read a movie? It felt like it was a movie. It felt like, oh my, this would be badass if this was made into a film. You know why you felt that, other than liking the story and liking the characters? 9 times out of 10, the artist that did that thought it out. This is not just a comic, this is me telling my story. And it's not just me telling a story on 2-dimensional flat paper, this is me thinking of being like a film director with no film budget. I'm going to make my comic into a film. And it's going to read like a movie, like where it's plotted out, the story action is there, and even you've seen like in some of the Japanese comics, like where it's like they'll take in the cheap version of a domestic comic, it's like fist is up and fist is knocking somebody out, some guy's lying on the ground, right? But then when you read like some crazy Japanese comic, or even an American one that is really well done, it's like, yeah, there's the shot, fingers are coming. Then in the next shot, it's the eyes of the characters reacting. Third shot is maybe like a fist just flying out of nowhere. Fifth shot, pat, cracking into the guy's head, and it's, and it's laid out, storyboard. That's what needs to be done more with comics in general, whether it's a manga or you are an American, so let's face facts, drawing a comic book here in the States. Think about it like a film.